welcome back. We're moving into our second conversation for today, and we have representatives, that is, of the National Women's Commission with us to talk about the Women in Politics Conference. We have Eleanor Murillo, who is the program officer, and Anne-Marie Williams, who's the executive director. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for being here.
Morning, and thanks for having us.
So, WIP, Women
Yes.
in Politics. This has been a program that has been ongoing with the National Women's Commission for some time, and you're heading into a conference looking at your general experience so far. Anne-Marie, let's step back a bit and talk about the original concept behind the Women in Politics training and what the experience has been like.
Okay, you would remember, or memory serves, that when I took over at the commission in 2008, there were no women on the slate for the United Democratic Party, which contested the elections at that time. They won the elections, and our first order of business at the commission had to do with raising a critical mass of women for politics. It was also part of the Imagine the Possibilities agenda to get more women involved in politics. And we took on a task that was to try to get women trained and socialized for politics. I said socialized because generally women are not socialized for politics, not only in Belize, but in the wider world also. And so we saw 3 cohorts of the Women in Politics program. The first cohort, we actually look at women who wanted to stand for elections at all levels, from village council, municipal, and national elections. It didn't matter your political party. We never asked that. It was a public call. If you were red, blue, orange, purple, it mattered not. What was the case was that you wanted to stand for elections and you at least had a high school, or at least you had a high school diploma. And we wanted 25 women for our first call. We got a whopping 68 women. We whittled down up until like 50, what the money could have afforded. And we trained the 50 women in issues that were germane to politics and national development for 13 weeks. It was held all on Saturdays from 9 in the morning until 12, some from 9 until 2, depending on the topic. So we looked at how to run a political campaign. We looked at dissecting the national budget. We addressed gender budgeting. We look at the Village Council Act, the City Councils Act, with all the things, like I said, that were germane to politics and national development, things you want your representative to know before him or her would go into an election. And we decided to give 2 classes of certificates. One, full completion if you did 10 weeks or more, and you got a partial completion if you did 9 weeks and under. Out of the 50 women, we had like 43 of them graduating with full completion. It was free, so we felt that the stipulation warranted it, and we're serious, so they should be serious also. Absolutely. And out of that 50 women, we had 5 of them running for village council elections straight out of the gate of the graduation, like 2 weeks later. Out of that 5, we had 2 of them winning their councillor seats and 1 chairlady, so that's 3. And they were all new women to politics. So when the politicians say they can't find women, these were new women.
Now let's understand a bit what it entails to train an individual to get involved in politics. Now, our male politicians don't undergo any training, and these women,
and they all need,
who have an interest. I agree. All these women who have an interest in entering politics or re-entering politics went into this training. What are some of the skill sets that were passed on to them that would be essential for women to enter the political race?
Like how to run a campaign, how simply to meet people, public speaking for that matter, how to craft your message. Simply put, generally, how do you go around and meet people and sell your message? How do you introduce yourself to the community? And also to not only meeting people, but what are some of the policy issues? What are some of the pertinent things that you need to know? We don't want a politician who can meet people and their head is empty, no. And we also know too that women are judged by a different standard, and it's far higher, the bar is much higher than for a man. And so we needed to prepare women. We looked at parliamentary procedures. We see the House of Representatives on many times, and the way they behave, it's disgraceful to say the least. And how do you conduct yourself in the House? What is the role of the Speaker? What is it for a bill to be passed? What is a bill for an act to XYZ? And these were some of the things that they learned. And they learned them from the people who were in the positions and the people who were trained and had the skill set, the experts in the area.
How do you look at a situation where, for instance, society as the electorate plays a huge role in who gets voted into office and who doesn't? And I say that in the context of a male politician and a female politician seeking public office. It would seem as though our society for some time has been, well, we think from a perspective that maybe a man does a better job as a politician, and so we don't have as many women in history that have served in that capacity. You have a curriculum where these women can enter, they can go through the course, and it shapes them in a sense to be able to run for office. Whereas the men, they don't get that. They don't have that. There's not a men's commission that provides men in politics, so to speak. So we just go out there, we offer ourselves for candidacy, and then we get voted in. Then you have all of what you rightfully mentioned is the behavior and the conduct of these men in office, those very same people who represent us. Whereas you have women who have all this skill set. I'm almost certain that you've trained them in decorum and how to conduct themselves as well. And society doesn't really want to give them a chance, so to speak.
Well, good question. And we are the society. Yeah. We tend to, we have to be honest that a lot of the men and a lot of the people who get voted into politics happen to be driven by money. And we all hear of conventions where there's big payout and there's big payoff. A lot of the men in the political field, they have more financial networks than women. It's an all boys club, let's not fool ourselves. So they come out the ballpark 3 steps ahead of the women anyway. But when you look at the quality of candidates head to head in terms of their intelligence level and what they can do, you would be hard pressed to say that oftentimes the men are better. So it reflects on us as a society. What is it that we want? If our bar is very low as a society, we cannot expect anything. And at the end of the day, you get what you deserve in a candidate that you vote for.
Can I ask if there's, this is an, Isani said something just on, it was uncomfortable to hear, but I understand your point of view in saying that society thinks that a man can do a better job. And I don't, that's not my perspective, but perhaps a generalized one. But can I ask, have we ever done a knowledge or attitude or perception study to understand how society views a woman who enters a political race? Because it is, I think, important for us to recognize there's socialization aspects. We know women to be the support system behind, so maybe we want the head to be a male and women to be the CEOs, as we have seen, or the leader of the campaigns, as we have seen. Or are there other issues, perhaps, that we haven't been able to identify?
We have done study, so to speak.
Okay.
Courtesy of SIB was tacked on to the 2010 census.
Okay.
And there was a module that looked at society's perceptions about women in politics and women as representatives. And it shows you that heavily cultural again, it shows you that over 50% of people in the North don't think that a woman should be the prime minister. Whereas in Belize City, you had upwards of 78% of the people who polled say that, yes, they would like to see a woman as prime minister. In the North, people were more skewed towards seeing maybe councillors as women. And a lot of that must have to do with the cultural roles. A lot of the Mestizo community tend to be the women who are at home taking care of the children. While it's a noble profession, what about the women who don't want to stay at home and who want to use their education to advance our nation? And so that was an excellent window into the kinds of work we had to do.
Yeah. Now, where do you, I mean, you've had 3 cohorts of women pass through, and I have to say 43 out of 50 is a very good completion rate. You've seen some of the women step into the political race. You've seen some of the women be successful in their campaigns. What are your intentions with putting together the conference at this point?
Okay, good point. The conference is billed as an important event ahead of the 2018 municipal elections. The only woman mayor and deputy in the country comes from WHIP. And one of the 2 elected women in the House who are deputy ministers come from WHIP. That's Tracy Panton, and we have Fern Gutierrez, mayor in Punta Gorda, and Ert Lopez as deputy mayor in Dangriga. So we want to build on the strengths of the WHIP graduates. We want to expose them to women who are planning to enter the political arena. We want them to share their lived experiences and share their reality. What is it like? We're bringing in an international speaker courtesy of the U.S. Embassy. She's an academic. Her name is Kelly Dittmar. She will be looking at how women can adequately navigate the gendered terrain in politics and leadership. So it's not only politics, but it's politics and leadership, because leadership is an important component of anything you're about to do. Look at where we are as a country. Leadership, we're failing miserably. And so this is an opportunity for Kelly. Kelly is also, she's a professor at Rutgers University in New Jersey, politics and gender, and she heads the Center for American Women in Politics, where they do similar training to WHIP for women every year. She's done research with women in Congress, and so we think that she would be an excellent person to help women to look at the gender stereotypes, how they can break it, how you can exactly navigate. Because I think the worst thing is for things to be happening around you and you're totally clueless as to what's going on, because then you really can't change it.
What of the self-perception of women? Because sometimes I feel like this is where our barrier starts, where perhaps women feel inclined to leadership or perhaps to pursue leadership, but it would be out of character, it would be too difficult, or they start to see all the challenges before they even enter the race. Is that a part of what you have to break down within this course?
Yes, we have to break that down in our daily lives every day. Because things should be done not because they're easy, but because they're difficult. Because the challenges, within the challenges lie the opportunities. And anybody who would steer away from something because it's difficult, you don't want them in leadership or politics anyway. Because what happens when it's time to defend you or to defend country? They don't have it. So women on a whole, I feel that can do a whole lot better with more confidence. Confidence takes you everywhere and anywhere. And preparation with confidence, you're a winner.
Now, I think also added to that is perhaps, and when I say not the challenges that are to come, it is the inequity, I think, that keeps a lot of women, even strong women with leadership qualities, out of politics. You know, you are very right in saying that if Isani and I were to put ourselves up for office, how he will be judged versus how I will be judged, and we have all the evidence to prove it, even in Belize, is completely different. I will be scrutinized for totally different issues if he's scrutinized at all. So when we have this taking place within society, and you have younger people perhaps who are looking and saying, I don't know if I am prepared to deal with that. Maybe not because it's hard, but because it's just unfair. What do you say to them?
Well, that is why we have to continue to do this type of work. We have to continue to raise awareness and to try to shatter the kinds of systemic patriarchy that exists, because that is what it's all about. How we socialize our children. I've been on this couch so many times and we've had so many conversations about the early socialization. And anybody who is listening right now or watching television, you do yourself and your children a disservice when you raise your boys differently from your girls. The socialization is important. You can't wait until a young man is 18 to teach him about gender and his rights and how to respect women, because you've lost him. By the same token, you can't wait until a young girl is 18, 19 to teach her about self-esteem and values, and to teach her that, listen, you just don't come out to school and find the first man and get pregnant and things. No, those things are the things that we learn at home. It's like charity. It begins at home, but it should not end there.
I'm glad that you mentioned being able to continue the work of the Women's Commission, because at this point I would want to bring in Ms. Murillo into the conversation. Now, I know that you also play an active role in being able to spread that message, so to speak. Can you share with us your perspective on some of what we've discussed so far?
Well, in terms of the conference, I think it's a wonderful time for people of all ages, because we're looking at the new people, the young people, and also the people who are presently in politics and those who aspire to be in politics. So I think it will be an energetic experience. It will be very inspirational, because as we have already said, a lot of the challenges that we have in terms of women and being fearful and not having that confidence, and then knowing all the different roadblocks that they will meet when they put themselves out there. So this conference gives them the opportunity to really hear all the different things and you know, build up that momentum that yes, we can do it. So hopefully from this conference we'll have more and more women participating in leadership, participating in politics, and so on.
So it's a gathering of past graduates and potential.
It's a gathering of political aspirants. Like last week for the tongue board in Dangriga, I heard that 4 women from the PUP are actually on this slate. They too are invited. They're new women. I've already reached out to 2 of them. It's an opportunity for them to get what they didn't get because they were not a part of WIP. It's a chance to network with the women who are in positions, hear from them. It's also an opportunity for women to come together. We don't come together enough to celebrate our spirits and to celebrate the things that we want to do. We tend to operate in silos, everything. Oh, I don't know I wonder how she do it. Well, talk to her. This is an opportunity, because if we travel along the same road, we don't have to go through the same challenges. We could learn from each other to overcome some of the challenges. This is no reinvention of the wheel. This is a gathering, a meeting of the minds. We're trying to celebrate a community of shared values. And so because of that too, we're asking a lot of the corporate companies in Belize, like BEL, BTL, BTB, to send some of their senior women or send some of their women, because whenever you talk about politics and leadership is needed also in the workforce. And so we have a number of activities planned for Kelly, besides the Women in Politics Conference, which is August 31 from 8 in the morning until 4:30. And we're asking women to register. There's a small contribution of $50 that takes care of your meals at the Biltmore. It takes care of a nice swag bag, the official conference t-shirts and everything, and the benefit of hearing an amazing speaker. There's the website, our website, National Women's Commission BZ.org, or on our Facebook page. The application forms are there. Fill in, and if you register between today and Tuesday, you pay only $45. Besides that, there's the public forum. You could talk a bit about
the public forum is on Thursday, is the day before, the 30th. And that is open. We are looking at junior college and university students. We want the young people to be a part of it, and not only the females, but we want males as well, so that they can understand when it comes to gender and gender stereotypes and things like that. And so it's open to the public. So we are starting from the young people right up. Anybody who is interested in politics, so males and females will be there. You're invited. It's at 5:30 at the Biltmore Plaza. So we're looking forward to another amazing time as well.
And that needs no registration. That is totally free.
Just show up.
And then on Friday, the 1st of September, it's really a pleasure to have Galen University join forces with the Women's Commission and the U.S. Embassy. They will be doing a wine and cheese evening at the San Ignacio Hotel, and for business women and men in the Cayo area. And she will be talking about organizational leadership. And so that's Friday evening. It's your happy hour jaunt time. It's like from 5:30 until about 8. But it's a great opportunity to come, hear her, mingle, interact, meet people of like minds.
So you have 3 separate activities, one in the Cayo area, 2 in the Belize City, Thursday, you have the public forum. Wednesday night. You have the
National Women in Politics Conference, which is
on Thursday, and on Friday in Cayo, there is a meet and greet, a wine and cheese night.
There may be other events, but that is still in the planning phase, and we wouldn't be doing that directly. And so we will let people know, though. But
now, what do you say to people about coming out? You know, I suppose if we look at the landscape of the United States, for example, while there are similarities, there are many differences. What do you think Kelly will be able to contribute to the discussion here in Belize when we talk about women in leadership and women in politics?
Well, we already, funny you say that, because we've done 2 conference calls with her already, and then I'll be sharing with her some of the experiences here for her to mix, match, and juxtapose against the international experiences. When we talk about gender stereotyping, there's not much differences. A lot of the examples will be similar. We actually talked about the Hillary Clinton campaign, and we talked about a simple thing like there was this, when she first ran against Barack Obama in Massachusetts, there was this man in these bleachers who put up a poster, "Go wash your husband's shirt." I mean, you know, she doesn't belong there, let alone trying to think that you will win and run this country. And these are some of the things, right?
But I guess the difference is there'd be one placard, and that would be visibility in terms of in the United States, but in Belize we have full-fledged media campaigns against women.
Well,
we have slanderous comments made publicly, published as well, about personal life, about issues that have nothing to do with their political
filling
role.
her in on those angles, and some of that came up in the States too, and so she will be juxtaposing them. But like I said, there are examples that you can learn from, because the nuances might be a little bit different, but the concepts are essentially the same, because it's patriarchy, right?
Now, the assumption will be that this is a event primarily for women. Your public forum, for example, you're saying you want young boys, students to come, boys or girls. The conference is exclusively women?
The conference is exclusively a women's conference. If you're a man and you have a burning desire and you want to come, we won't turn you back. But we're trying to raise this critical mass of women and expose women to other women who are achieving, and we have our sessions set and everything. But if they want to come, we will not turn them back. Because in this struggle, this is it, right? I think Helen Reddy says it's best when she says, I am still an embryo with a long, long way to go until I make my brother understand. Sometimes people sing and don't think about the words. And that is what it is. You really can't look at women's advancement without bringing men along. And it kind of riles me up when men in Belize think that means men disempowerment. On the contrary, but we don't want men on the sidelines.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody behind. We want them beside. You know,
And the meet and greet on Friday is also open to men
It's
and women.
open.
Yeah.
Men
So the
and
only
women.
exclusively women event would be the conference, and I think it's fine. But as you said, if any male wants to show up, they're also welcome. This is definitely something to look forward to. Is there limited space? The forum is open, but the
the
conference, is there limited space?
spaces are limited for the conference, and so we're impressing upon
Okay.
people to register and register early, because when the spaces are gone, they're literally gone, because we will not be able to accommodate. What we did, we have invited the 3 women in power right now who are part of WIP to make presentations. And so we want to rotate the groups, and having the guest speaker as facilitator after she gives her presentation. And so we're looking at crowd control also.
Yeah.
But we want people to register as quick as possible. It's National Women's, WOMENS, Commission BZ.org. That's for the site, or the Facebook page. You can just call it up, National Women's Commission, and there's an application there. You can fill it in and submit. They can come into the office and pay. There's information on the website of a bank account if they want to pay via the bank, and then just let us know that their payment's been completed.
Okay, so it's very simple. You can do it all online.
Yes.
All right. And I like that you point out that the municipal elections is close, and this is timely. What do you say? Let's take the opportunity before we wrap up this segment. What do we say to young women or women who are interested in potentially entering the race about why they should just go ahead and take the dive?
What do you have to lose? I've been there. I could say, what do you have to lose? Except, I feel, if you're an excellent candidate, only electorate loses, not you. You gain a wealth of experience, and people see you for who you are, and people already know what you can bring to the table. But some of us are ahead of our time, right? And so it's sometimes just going for it. At the end of the day, you will never think that, oh, I hate myself because I took the plunge. You would hate yourself if you never took the plunge. And we don't know what will happen. And experience happens to be the best teacher. You're wiser. You know how to navigate. You could share your experiences. So, you know.
And like the team says, our team is empowered women,
Yes.
empowering women.
Thank you.
You know, yes, for meaningful change. And so it's like each one teach one. And so we're really looking forward for all these energies in that room on Thursday and on Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay. Well,
Kelly is excited.
That is a don't miss event.
And Cara at the U.S. Embassy, I need to big up Cara. Cara Rose has been making sure that we keep on track every week with a conference call, and she's ready and waiting for the topics in order to prepare, and it's exciting.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you for coming in and letting us know that it is now open for registration, and as you said, there's limited space available, so do register early, and you can do so on the website. They can contact your office or find you on Facebook.
Right.
Thank you for stopping in and
Thank
sharing
you
the
for
details.
having us.
We're gonna go ahead now and take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking to the National Celebrations Commission about the National Song Competition. So stay tuned.